Hey guys, welcome to week 5, lesson 1. The start of a new topic. We are out of algebra and into probability. So with this topic, I'm going to do a little bit of a challenge for each video where I'm just going to do something different, just a random little thing. And your job is to find where in the video I've done it. Tell me where the timestamp is and what it was, and then I want you to try and hide it amongst your work for me to find when I mark your work. So, just a little bit of a challenge for a bit of fun. So, to go on from it, for today, our learning intention is to review the key terms of probability and understand what the key terms are. So, some of you probably haven't done probability in a year or two, if you've done it at all in the last couple of years. So, hence your E. So this one's going to be quite wordy. I do apologise. So, what we're going to look at is some of the key terms. Alright, so first one we're going to look at is random experiment. So this may be something like when you go to roll a dice and see how many times you get a certain number to appear. A bit like when we do Greedy Pig, and it's a game of chance of who's going to stay and who's going to go out. So when we do a random experiment, it results in a list of outcomes which occur without interference. So when we say without interference, we mean like a rigged dice. So one that's weighted to make it come, or when you put your hand there to try and stop it from going over. So basically you do it and it happens and you don't do anything to try and change it. So when we talk about outcomes, which is our next word, they're the results of the experience. So we can sort of predict the outcome. So when you toss a coin, you know you're going to get heads or tails. So those are, we'll discuss what those are, but outcomes are, all right, if we flip the coin 10 times, what do we get for each flip? So this could be rolling the dice 5 times. All right, and we just record what happens with each number. So then we're going to talk about the sample space. All right, so when we do a sample space, we use these funny curly brackets to show our sample space for a start. Important part. So a sample space is a list of all the possible outcomes. So, for example, we'll keep with our dice one. So for example, if we roll a 6-sided dice, the sample space of it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are all our possible outcomes. And we just say, so if there's any double ups, we don't include it. We just include everything for the first time it appears and then not up there. So if we had a spinner that had a number or a colour twice on it, we would only include the colour once in our sample space. Okay, so those 3 of our key terms so far. All right, then our next one is called an event. Okay, so it's one of the possibilities from our experiment. So when we talk about an event, we want to say, okay, with the rolling a dice, a six-sided dice, what is the chance of rolling a 6? Okay, so let's say, so this will be written as the probability 6. All right, so then we know that if we look back at our sample space for rolling the dice, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 possible outcomes. So I'll put that on the bottom. All right, and there's only one 6 on a 6-sided dice. So you have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling a 6. Okay, that's what it means in an event. So an event would be chance of rolling a 6. Okay, then we have a compound event. And it takes the event part a little bit further. It is consisting of more than one particular event. So, for example, for this one, all right, we could say, what is the chance of rolling a number higher than a 4? This is a compound event because it includes 5 and 6. Okay, because we're looking at 2 things happening, not just one number, but 2 numbers happening. So then we have one last word that comes in this, which is called the complement. Right, so when we talk about the complement, it's the opposite of the event happening. All right, so to write it more specifically, the complement the set of all outcomes in Okay, so the complement is the set of all outcomes in the sample space that are not included in event A. So, for example, let's say event A is the probability of rolling a 4. So the complement of that would be probability of not 4. Okay, complement. So finding everything but. Okay, so quick short way to do it is actually to go 1 minus the probability of A. Okay? Easy way to do it, or in this case, so the probability of 4 is a 1 on 6. So the probability of a not 4 will be 5 on 6. So that's it for our key terms for this lesson. So now we're going to look at something else. So a couple of other little notes. So some other notes, probability is always between 1 and 0. Okay, so that means that no matter what, you're not going to have something that's going to have a probability of 2. It's not going to happen. All right, so if we were to draw a sort of like a number line of the probability of something happening. So let's say 0 is down here, 1 is here, and this is half. Okay, anything down this end, certain chance. In the middle, equal chance. And over here, 0 chance. Then we can also have somewhere in here will be low chance. And here, high chance. So in between all of these, you'd have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, then we go halfway. So basically, when we talk probability, it's going to be fractions, decimals, or percentages. And the reason is because this means that they're not whole numbers. Okay? So now we're going to look at our probability formula. So before you would have noticed I've written, if you look at this one here, and I wrote, whoops, I wrote probability 6 equals 1 of 6. I'm now going to tell you how the hell I got that. So when you look at it, all right, we're going to go probability. So the PR just means probability, by the way. The event. So the event is whatever we're looking at. Equals, and we're going to go number of outcomes. Where it happens. Over total outcomes. Alright, so if we looked, when we did our probability of rolling a 6, on a dice there's only 1 6. That's why we put a 1 up the top. But overall, there were 6 different numbers we could roll, hence the total outcomes was 6. Okay, so if we put that as an example, just so you remember, okay, there's 1 6, so we're going to put PR 6 because our event is rolling a 6. Then we go, well, there's only 1, so we put the 1 on top. There's 6 different numbers on a dice, so we put the 6 on the bottom. And that's basically how we apply it. So you can leave that as a fraction, or you can then turn it to a decimal or a percentage. But fractions tend to be a little bit nicer, ironically, in this one. Right, so that's the probability formula we're going to use. The other thing I'm going to show you is some helpful fractions, decimals, percentages to know. Okay, so as I said before, we're using only fractions, decimals, percentages with this. So if I draw up a quick table, instead of writing out percentage, I'm going to cheat. So for a start, let's just do one example of 50%. Okay, 50% is that half chance you're going to get. It's always 0.5 as a decimal, and as a fraction, it's 1/2. So that's just one of the most common ones you're going to see. You could also have 25% chance, so this is a low chance kind of thing. As a decimal, that's 0.25. And then as a fraction, that is 1/4. Okay? So then the next one we do is 20%, so 0.2. So that's 20, and that is 1/5. Yep. Another one I've got is 0.6, so a 60% chance. So you could do that as 6/10, which then can become 3/5 because we're halving it. Okay, so basically 3/5. One last one I'm going to do is our 75% chance, or 3/4. That's 0.75 and 75%. Now, if at any stage you find there's something coming up a lot, so like the 1/6, which I can't remember exactly what percentage that is, you can add that to your little table and put it at maybe the back of your book as a little flip out. So it can be helpful later on. So when I mean little flip out, go to your back of your book. So let's say this is my page here. The back of my book, I would then have a page that could then fold out like that, and you can have it sitting out, easy to read while you're working. The one last thing I want to do for this video is explain the worksheet you're going to do. So one of the worksheets you've got to do is titled Creating Spinners. Okay, so it says use outlines from the spinner template to create the following spinners. So spinners template's the second page here, and so if you look, it's got a bunch of shapes. So you've got triangles, squares, pentagons, hexagons, can't remember its name, and circles. Okay, so then you'll go, it says here, design a spinner with a sample space size of 5 where all outcomes are equally likely. So then using my template, I would then use the pentagon because it has 5 sides. And I would put a dot in the middle and do a line up to each of the corners. And bam, there's my my spinner with a sample space. So I could put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there's an equal chance of each of those all happening. That's what you're going to do. Is you can cut these out to stick on your page. That's fine to do as well. But basically, that's what it is. So then if you look at the second question, it says create a spinner so that there is a 1/3 chance of getting blue, 1/3 chance of getting red, and 1/3 chance of getting green. I would use a triangle, split it up. All right, so then our colours are red, blue, and green. And that is what it's wanting. All right, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be pretty. The other one I did is on my example sheet I put up for you guys is I did a similar one where I said create a spinner with a sample space of 6 where all outcomes are equally likely. So I chose the hexagon with the 6 sides, but you can also do it with the circle if you're really good with circles. So then I split it half and then down, a bit like a pizza. Okay, so you can use any shape you want that you can split evenly. So here, you don't have to use the triangle. You could turn around and use the hexagon because it's got that. Or you could turn around and use the circle if you're really good at drawing that way. And that is what that worksheet means. And that is it for this particular lesson. So you've got 2 worksheets to do. This one and another one that gets you to write all the key terms out. And then that is it for this lesson.